So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys the mock trade that I've made up that would land Bradley Beal on the Golden State Warriors, which would form another dynasty of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Bradley Beal, and Draymond Green. But with that being said, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit that notification bell button not to miss out on more exciting NBA content like this. But with all that out of the way, now let's hop into the video. So Bradley Beal is currently the NBA's leading scorer by averaging about 32 points per game. And I feel like if Bradley Beal really wants to win in the league, he would have to request a trade out of the Wizards, because the Wizards are definitely not going to be a championship contender in anywhere near the future, because they just don't have intriguing assets and ability to trade for a superstar. So it depends on what Bradley Beal values more, loyalty or winning. And we're going to have to find that out in the next NBA offseason coming up, because Bradley Beal is 27 years old and entering his prime, and I don't really know if he wants to stay with the Wizards long term, because the Wizards clearly do not have a long-term plan. Because at this point they're just experimenting new things with Russell Westbrook and the John Wall trade. And yes, the Wizards have actually started to win more games as of late, but this definitely still does not look like a good season for them, because they still had a lot of injuries on their team, including Thomas Bryant in the beginning of the season and Denny Avdija as of late. And a last-second attempt to make the playoffs is definitely not what the Washington Wizards would really want, and I feel like they had higher expectations than this, and they're still about 7 games under 500, so they're basically just fighting for the playoff tournament at this point. So with all that being said, Bradley Beal could actually request a trade out of Washington this offseason, and he could look to even joining a team like the Golden State Warriors because of their Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And Bradley Beal will definitely know that if he would join a team like that, they would definitely win a ton of games and be a serious championship contender in the West. And the Warriors would definitely have serious interest in a trade for Bradley Beal if he were to become available this offseason. So because of that, I actually made 2 mock trades that would send Bradley Beal to the Warriors. So now let's hop into mock trade number 1. So in this mock trade, the Warriors would receive Bradley Beal and the Washington Wizards would receive Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, Eric Paschall, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick in the future. And Andrew Wiggins would definitely have to be included in any Bradley Beal trade to make the salaries match for both teams, and young prospects such as James Wiseman and Eric Paschall. And the Washington Wizards would also demand a fair amount of draft compensation from the Warriors as well, which is why I included a future first-round pick and second-round pick. So first, let's hop in why this trade would make sense for the Golden State Warriors. So Bradley Beal would massively increase the Golden State Warriors scoring, and Bradley Beal with Stephen Curry would demand an increasingly greater attention on the defensive side of the court by opposing teams, and adding Klay Thompson to the mix would just be even better for the Warriors offense. I mean, other teams are probably going to have to double team Steph Curry and Bradley Beal, which leaves an insane amount of open space on the court for players like Klay Thompson. And especially with playmakers such as Draymond Green, the Warriors would have a great offensive flow. And for Bradley Beal, this trade makes perfect sense because he's now traded to a legitimate contender in Golden State, and by adding him, they could definitely win many more championships, which would definitely help Bradley Beal's legacy, especially being able to play with a superstar like Stephen Curry who won at the highest level. And yes, the Warriors would have to give up players such as James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, and Eric Paschall, which are young players and future assets, but this would definitely be the right time in the offseason to pull off such a trade. And Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson still want to win many more championships together, and they are almost definitely not going to be able to accomplish that with this type of team structured around them, because players like Andrew Wiggins clearly do not fit on the Golden State Warriors right now, and especially when Klay Thompson will return. And I'm sure Warriors fans would love to get rid of Andrew Wiggins' big contract, but in order to do so, they would have to give up significant young assets such as James Wiseman, Eric Paschall, and future picks. And this could potentially be a trade that the Wizards could consider in the 2021 NBA offseason if Bradley Beal truly does request a trade. So by doing this trade, the Warriors would definitely become a championship contending team, and they would build their new dynasty of Bradley Beal, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. And defensively, Klay Thompson and Draymond Green are lockdown defenders, so that would help out on that side of the court. And Bradley Beal isn't a bad defender as well, and he's capable of playing good defense. So with all that being said, let me know what you guys think of this trade for the Golden State Warriors. Now let's hop into the Wizards side of this trade. So this trade would definitely set up the Washington Wizards with a solid young core in the future. And they would of course have to trade Russell Westbrook if Bradley Beal requests a trade. So they could get another decent return in a package for Westbrook. And given their center injuries, the Wizards would probably need a replacement for Thomas Bryant. And if not a replacement, at least a player that could play with him and be either the starting or backup center behind potentially Thomas Bryant. And that would definitely be James Wiseman. And Thomas Bryant definitely came down with a gruesome injury in the beginning of the season, which has kept him out the whole season. And he's had a ton of serious injuries in the past, so I'm just not sure if he would be the best fit at the center position for the Wizards. He's actually been having a breakout season before his injury, but now with another big injury like that, it's going to be tough for Thomas Bryant to play with the same high-level play he's been playing at before. And James Wiseman actually also recently came down with a meniscus tear injury, which will also keep him out for the rest of the season. But the Wizards should definitely take a chance on James Wiseman if they were to trade Bradley Beal, because if healthy, Wiseman does have all-star potential. He just needs to get developed properly. And the Warriors are not mainly focused on developing young players right now, but they're mainly focused on winning a championship with Steph. So it shouldn't be too hard with them giving up on James Wiseman. And Eric Paschall is a decent bench player, but he's just definitely not going to be a starter for the Warriors anytime soon, especially with Draymond Green at that power forward position locked up. But he definitely has some potential in him, which would definitely be beneficial for the Washington Wizards long term. And they also get Andrew Wiggins, as they can develop him into a nice young all-star potentially. And he's still 26 years old, so he still has potential in him and has been improving every year. He's a solid two-way player that is being efficient from the floor this season. And they would pair Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and Eric Paschall up and add to their young core depth that would already consist of Rui Hachimura, Deni Avdija, Davis Bertans, and more. And the Wizards would finally have a real long-term plan as a rebuilding team. And the Wizards would go through a rebuild the right way by doing exactly what the Oklahoma City Thunder have been doing during the past few years, by stacking up on a ton of draft picks, as well as trading their experienced players such as superstars like Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook for more draft capital and more future young assets that the Wizards would then develop on their team and develop a good surrounding young core off of those picks and assets. But now let's hop into the second mock trade. So in the second trade, the Warriors would receive both Bradley Beal and Thomas Bryant, and the Wizards would receive Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and 3 future first-round picks. So let me know what you guys think of both of these trades in the comments down below, and comment on which trade is best for both teams. So once again, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video if you did enjoy. And it was KNYT here, and I'm out. Peace.